Oink, oink, oink. It's Pig Nuts coming to you live from the pig pen. It is Piggy himself, week 7. And I had rolled around in a ton of mud last night, so we got a pretty late Pig Nuts for you. This is Pig Nuts in retrospect. I'm sorry, I was very hungover. I also had to go to the gym this morning at 7:15, so I slept and died the rest of the day. But here I am. We're still going to get some Pig Nuts. We got who's back, who's dead, and who's not back but not dead. We also got some talk about tonight's game. Of course, we have a bunch of matchups going on right now. Of course, let's start with college football roundup. UM beat Clemson in overtime. Great for UM after 2 losses in a row. They're not back but not dead. They were almost dead. And FSU, of course, beat Duke last night. I went to that game. Big win for them. I don't think UF played. So that's college football roundup. Starting with who's back, we got Britney Bitch. Britney Spears is back. She's been on the dead list for years, but you can't kill what's already dead. She's dropping a memoir on our heads this week called The Woman in Me, which I'm sure she wrote on her own. It details her life from a musketeer with Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling, and Justin Timberlake, to her relationship with Justin Timberlake, to her conservatorship, to present time. Some highlights: she states that her dad used her image for cash flow, and once said to her, "I'm Britney Spears now." Pretty crazy. Of course, she's a crazy person. How much we can believe what she's saying, or how much is she doing it just to sell books? I do believe their dad's also probably really crazy. She also, huge atomic bomb, says that she had an abortion with Justin Timberlake's baby. That is a huge fumble of the bag not to fake abort that and have his kid and lock that in forever. Big loss there. She says that Justin Timberlake made her get an abortion. She also says that she never had a drug or alcohol problem. She just really, really likes Adderall, which I'm sure that Danny can relate to. She also talks about a 2-week whirlwind romance with Colin Farrell right after the Justin Timberlake breakup. Pretty juicy stuff. She says this is a good one too. I don't know if you guys saw Crossroads. That was I think a 2002 movie, dramedy, very not serious movie, very whatever movie. She says she got too deep into method acting in Crossroads, where she didn't know what was real and what wasn't anymore. She was too deep into characters. She thinks she's Daniel Day-Lewis. Ridiculous. They're also talking, Shonda Rhimes is talking about making a sequel to Crossroads. Will Britney mentally be able to come back for the sequel? Pretty crazy. She also talks about Justin Timberlake texting her and ending their relationship. All he texted was, "It's over," with 3 exclamation points to break up. He was pissed with her because she was on the set working many, many hours. He wanted to get responses from her. She wasn't texting back. He believed that she was cheating on her with she was cheating on him with Wade Robson, her choreographer. She did admit to kissing Wade Robinson. She didn't admit to cheating on him. But Justin Timberlake was not having any of that and kicked her to the curb. Of course, he goes on to release Cry Me a River, where it looks like, basically, it's a lookalike of her breaking his heart, and everyone's like, woe is me. For Justin, Diane Sawyer calls her basically a hoochie mama. And the last 20 years have kind of been a spiral, but she's back. She's back. I would like to read it. I'm probably not going to. I'll listen to the audiobook maybe. I know there's someone big doing the audio for it. Britney's back. Next up, we got the Olympics, the 2028 LA Olympics. Cough going to be there for sure. They've added cricket, lacrosse, squash, and flag football. Flag football, hilarious, because of course America is the only country that plays flag football. NFL players are already chomping at the bit to be a part of this. Tyreek Hill saying he's in. A bunch of other players are saying they're in. Just think of the poor Uzbekistani farmer who gets burnt on a crossing route and then gets grittied to death while his family is exiled. Hilarious. Definitely going to boost viewership in the Olympics. Love to see that. Who's dead? We got Michigan State back on the dead list. Of course, last week or the week before was Mel Tucker, Michigan State's ex-head coach, jerking off to that girl who was a sexual assault victim on the phone. He got fired. They lost yesterday 42-0 to Michigan. And then they put Hitler on the Jumbotron. Huge photo of Hitler on the Jumbotron pregame for a trivia quiz asking his birthplace. Of course, in these anti-Semitic times, putting Hitler on the Jumbotron, not the best. Michigan State had to come out and issue an apology. Of course, Michigan State very, very down. Next up on Who's Dead, we got Natalie Holloway. 18 years after her disappearance and eventual found to be dead in Aruba on a high school graduation trip, she was last seen with Jordan Vandersloot. Vandersloot this week in court finally confessed to killing her. He was already in prison for extorting and defrauding Holloway's family. He tried to sell info about the location of her body to her mother for $250K. This guy is a huge dirtbag piece of shit. He was already sentenced to 20 years for financial crimes and an ongoing prison sentence in Peru for killing another woman and trafficking cocaine. Vandersloot came out and said, since he's already in jail forever, that basically, I did it, I killed her. She rejected his advances, his sexual advances, so he bludgeoned her with a cinder block and threw her into the ocean. Aruba stating, they're saying, okay, now you can convict him in Aruba. Turns out Aruba has like a 5-year statute of limitations on homicide. You can just go to Aruba and kill whoever you want and just hide for 5 years and you're good. So it doesn't look like he's going to be charged for this. Aruba just says, you're good. Bad guy. He's dead. And so is she. Scholastic Book Fair. We all grew up and loved the Scholastic Book Fair. Unfortunately, now the black and gay children are not going to be able to enjoy it as much as we did. They bent the knee to the anti-woke groups such as DeSantis and decided to pull all gay and race-related books. They're saying that they're not pulling them. They're just not adding them to the regular selection. Schools are going to have to order them separately. Soft move from the Scholastic Book Fair. I expected them to have more integrity than that, but that's politics these days. Who is not back but not dead? The election interference case in Fulton County, Georgia. Of course, that's the 2020 election interference case with 19 defendants, including Rudy Giuliani and Donald J. Trump. Sidney Powell is also a defendant, and you may remember her as Trump's attorney who said to release the Kraken as part of her conspiracy-fueled efforts to overturn Trump's election loss. This week, she unexpectedly pleaded guilty to 6 reduced election interference charges in return for being a stool pigeon, a snitch, and testifying against her co-defendants in the sprawling racketeering case. 6 years probation, an apology, and a small fine. She flipped on Trump. This begs the question, are dominoes going to start falling and is everyone going to start stitching on everyone? Because she was in the room with a lot of these people. She's going to have to, for immunity, say what happened. She was in the room when in one of these big meetings with Trump. She's going to testify against him. Is it going to matter? Can you kill Trump? These are all good questions. Let's see who flips next, if anyone. Also, the House Speaker is a huge clusterfuck right now. Of course, Gates ousted what's-his-name as House Speaker. They've been trying to get Jim Jordan just had to back out of the race. They gave him a vote of no confidence. They have like a temporary House Speaker. The government's a mess right now. On to matchups. Right now, I'm beating Ginsburg. It was close until Travis Kelce just danced on your grave. It looks like I'm going to win and be back in first because Seamus laid a stinker. 67 points out of Team Seamus. Of course, eventually the wheels were going to fall off that. Way too top heavy. Kaufman gets a win there. It looks like Abby's going to beat Saul. Natsky and Shemra in the toilet bowl this week, 10 versus 12. I think Natsky's got it. He's got 2 players. He was projected 108. Shemmer just has 100. Both pathetic, horrible teams. Vivek's going to beat Danny. And Weisberg, with a 45-point projection, gets another week of PU! PU, that is a stinker. What a fall from grace for the Birdman. I don't take the year off and come back stronger. Of course, we love you and we miss you and we miss Bird Beaks, but that team is man. Gold with the win there. On to tonight's big game. I have no picks, of course, other than Dolphins +3 and money line. The Eagles are a very good team, of course. I actually like the Eagles, but tonight it's fuck Philly. Die Birds die. Fuck you, Kaufman, for one night and one night only. The Dolphins are faster. The secondary on the Eagles is shit. I think that Tua is better than Hurts. Give me 1 billion pig balls on the Dolphins. Big game. Let's go Dolphins. Have a end of your Sunday.